It is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Wednesday puzzle today, and that means a midweek puzzle, midweek difficulty, with a theme. And quite a few of you found yesterday's puzzle to be on the tough side for a Tuesday, so who knows what that means for us today. Maybe a tough puzzle for a Wednesday, maybe an easy puzzle for a Wednesday to balance it out. I don't know. I don't know why I even bother saying these things, because there's no way to predict it. In any case, this unpredictable edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Henrik Koskinen, David Innes, Josh Lucas, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Schulmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. And if you would like to join their ranks as a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve or in a link in the description field underneath the video. And if you'd like to follow that same link and become a patron at any level, you can do so and get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And of course, the benefactors and other patrons of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign are the people who keep this channel sustainable for me and who make it a sustainable part of my daily work. So thank you so much for that, to everybody who is a patron at any level. I do very much appreciate it. And in another link in the description field, you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server and chat about crosswords and other puzzles and Wordle and crossword construction. And do subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. Thanks to everybody who's done that. So let's get on to the puzzle itself. This is a Wednesday puzzle, as noted, so a themed mid-week, mid-difficulty puzzle, and it was constructed by Karen Steinberg, who's constructed a small handful of puzzles for the Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving. Iconic sportswear logo that was commissioned for $35 in 1971. This is the Nike swoosh. Yes, I was aware of that. Yes, the woman who designed it was paid a flat fee, and I think she, many years later, negotiated some kind of additional commission or something. I'm not 100% certain of the deals. I think that eventually happened, but yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, it's hard to necessarily even consider it an injustice per se, because so many, graphic designers so often are just commissioned to do all sorts of things, and you would just never know. There's no way to know in the future what will go on to become such an incredibly iconic part of really modern culture, I suppose. But obviously, it is in retrospect a huge injustice. Okay, says ha, say. Sneers, I suppose. Sneers at somebody. Place for some bills. I'm not sure. Waiters, as in build birds. I don't think that's correct. The cards on scoreboards. Oh, St. Louis Cardinals. Does that help? Place for some bills. A wallet, banknotes, bills. Money, paper money. Okay, flying a commercial airline often. An ordeal. An ordeal. Flying a commercial airline as opposed to what, a private jet? I mean, I suppose it is, if that's an option you have. A commercial airline. Northernmost capital in continental South America. Northernmost capital in continental South America. This doesn't look like a possible answer to me. Get out fast. Yeah, okay. Could say, no, I was going to say hi could be sniffs at someone, and then get out fast could be flee, but that doesn't fix this problem, because this doesn't look like it's anything plausible. This doesn't look like anything either. Vintage car in German or veteran in English. Oh, that's interesting. Well, it'll be old something. Okay, well, this is obviously incorrect. So scoffs says ha, scoffs. Oh, Caracas, Venezuela. There we go. That's much more plausible. But what does that... This is interesting. So this is the theme. So maybe we have words that have meanings in other languages. Old timer or something? Vintage car in German. Is that the case? I yeah, I don't. I'm not familiar enough with German to recognize this as anything, but it's interesting. This will be a very interesting theme. I'm very much anticipating seeing the rest of the answers. Hall's partner in pop, so Hall and Oates is a pop duo, and Famine's counterpart, Feast or Famine. I mean, speaking, yeah, graphic designers who work on freelance operate in a sort of feast or famine lifestyle in which things are going well when you're getting a lot of commissions and not so well when you're not. John, who played Don in Mad Men, John Hamm in Mad Men, which I've seen all of, so there's something I've seen. GI food packs are MREs, I think. It's the rations, the sort of military rations that often include freeze-dried components. What does it stand for? Oh, I don't remember. That's annoying. Anyway, I know that I've learned that before, but I can't recall. Twilled suit fabric. I mean, I may be mispronouncing this, but I think it's serge. It's one of those things I've seen, I've read before, but it's not something I've had call to refer to vocally particularly frequently. Rhaena's chess mate. So Rhaena is a queen, so the king would be the Ray. And high school in Danish, or building for indoor sports in English. Oh, is it a gymnasium? Right. That looks like something that would actually be related, maybe. Whereas this old timer thing, the old part is obviously related, vintage and veteran, but a timer makes me think that's maybe more of a coincidence. I don't know. Whereas gymnasium looks like it might actually be sort of a cognate. I don't know. I don't know enough about Danish. Let's keep looking. Glasses annoyance. A smear in your glasses would be annoying. One hearing things, an ear, I assume. An ear literally hears things. Here's a case where we have a question mark indicating punnery or wordplay. And of course, in this case, the pun is being more literal. An ear literally hears things. Whereas the phrase, if you're hearing things, it means you're sort of having auditory hallucinations, essentially. Okay, something to pass legally. A bar? The bar? Legally referring to the legal profession. I'm not sure if this is correct. Let's look at the across. I mean, I can understand how it could be correct, but six-time MLB All-Star Mookie, I'm not sure. Stories that can get pretty hot. I don't know, romances or something, I'm not sure. Blank Akebe, Things Fall Apart author, Chinua. I'm pretty sure this is how. Chinua Akebe. Yeah, that sounds right to me. This author has been in a puzzle just within the last few weeks, I think. Wasn't there something with... I think there was a puzzle with... Oh, right, it was. I think it was a puzzle with several literary references, but it wasn't, in fact, a theme. I think that's my recollection of it. It was a Friday or Saturday puzzle. Anyway, because that's what I want. Says me? Stories that can get pretty hot. What is this? Steals, as in hot theft? It doesn't make any sense at all. I am not seeing what that is. Big name in hardware stores. Ace Hardware, that's a hardware store that exists in the US. I think it's... I think it must be a franchise because they tend to have sort of individual names on them, so I assume they're sort of locally owned. In a spooky way, eerily. I think we had eerie in the puzzle yesterday. Exhausts. Tires. I'm exhausted, I'm tired. What on earth is this? Stories that can get pretty hot. At Avatars? I don't know. It's obviously not right. Kick off. Initiate. Oh, attics. Oh, stories of a home, of a building or a house. It can get pretty hot. Yeah, sure. Heat can get trapped in attics. Yeah, wow. Okay, that's a clever clue, and I completely went over my head entirely. Something grown in a lab. You can grow culture in a lab, in a petri dish or something like that. So Mookie Betts. Okay, I'm going to have to assume that's correct. I don't think I recognize this, so I'm just going to have to take it on faith that it's correct. But I think the crosses, I think the downs are more straightforward. So culture, initiate, tires. I guess the bar is correct. I was very skeptical about this when I put it in, yeah, it's been confirmed. So teeny is wee, small, and an identical one isn't 100% identical. An identical twin will have, of course, small differences to their twin. When doubled, like a good situation, a win-win situation, and set up a temporary base is in camp, maybe? Let's look at the crosses here. Unspecified amount. Any, I suppose, is an unspecified amount. And Hummer maker. No. So that's the sort of big consumer truck that's derived from the Humvee, the military vehicle. Who makes that? I guess it's GMC. GMC is I think they're auto manufacturer, but they only make trucks. They only make sort of big vehicles like that. They don't make sedans or anything like that. And I never really thought about who makes the Hummer, but I'm guessing it's them, given the M and the three letters and the M in that middle position. Scrooge McDuck vis-a-vis Donald, Uncle Scrooge, in cartoons, Disney cartoons. And competition in French or agreement in English. Competition in French or agreement in English. Concurrence? Right, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that means competition in French, which is useful because I'm trying to improve my French actively. So that is interesting knowledge for me, but I don't think I would have been able to get that if it was just competition in French. I would have needed, I think, more crosses than this to get there. That's very interesting. What an interesting theme. So this makes me wonder, because these words are obviously related. I mean, they don't mean the same thing in current language, but they're obviously related. They obviously come from the same roots. In gymnasium, that's clearly the case as well. It makes me wonder if that's true for timer and something to do with car. I don't know. I just don't know how to judge that without looking it up on the internet. Overheat as a circuit. Fry a circuit. Overheat it. Relative slangily could be your fam, your family, and that is to say, namely, so used in the same way in speech. And certain real estate purchase could be a lot. Maybe you buy a lot rather than a constructed building. To do something is to act, and scarfed down food is ate it. So there we have that. To amaze is to wow somebody, and it might say scam likely. Caller ID? Does that say that ever? Not mine, I wish it did. And tooth holder is, what sort of tooth? A maw? A mouth? Yeah, I suppose your maw holds your teeth. Blog, perhaps. Well, it could be a verb as well. I was going to say I was thinking, and what I said was a blog, in the sense of being a journal or something like that, an online weblog, but it could be a verb, to blog, and it's perhaps, so it's a bit of a loose definition, or it's referring to an example of something. I don't know, I'm just not seeing it. Verizon sale of 2021. AOL? Did AOL sell Verizon? Or, I'm sorry, did Verizon sell AOL? I mean, I don't actually know. I'm just they're both sort of telecommunications related companies, kind of, and it would fit. But I don't actually know. Current unit, ampere? That's a unit of current, right? That makes me think this is AOL. It's weird that I didn't just know that. Plywood in Dutch, or theater with several screens in English, multiplex. Wow. Now that seems maybe more likely to be not directly related. So maybe that's not part of the theme, and just some of them are and some of them aren't. That is interesting. Although I guess the multi does relate to plywood, given what plywood is. So maybe it's partially related. I don't know about the plex, because the plex is just a shortening of cineplex in English, which, I mean, that just doesn't have it. I mean, that's just sort of 2 degrees away. Blog, perhaps, is mouth off. It's obviously not right. It doesn't fit anyway. Spend a lot of time in front of the mirror, say. Preen. Oh, maybe it is journal. Oh, a jaw, not a maw. Right, okay. Whoops, no wonder I couldn't see what this was. And I even said journal. Oh, that's funny. So a tooth holder is a jaw. Fair enough. To inflame somebody is to enrage that person, and to kid somebody is to tease them. So you could move on from teasing to enraging if you don't stop. Ingredient in some holiday cookies, ginger is a sort of holiday flavor. And boosted is raised. Sheeran and Sullivan, Ed Sheeran and Ed Sullivan, 2 entertainers from different eras. And so-called wisdom keepers could be elders, or old-timers, I guess. Get all A's, say, is to excel. Yes, to do well, to excel. And to regard something, literally, is to eye it. Rejections are no's, which doesn't need to be spelled with the E's, I don't think, but can be. High school exam organization. Not sure what this is. I wonder if this is this maybe the organization that administers the SAT or something like that? I'm not sure. Engrave with an acid, to etch. You could etch things with an acidic process. So what is this? ETO. Is it ETS? This actually sort of rings a bell. Educational testing services, maybe. It was the initialism that popped into my head, and then I kind of just reverse engineered what I thought it might stand for. But I think that might actually be right, or something pretty close to it. Let's look at this. Vacation in Swedish, or half of an academic year in English, a semester. All right, interesting. This is so fascinating. I'm going to need to look these all up. Some medication plans. Oh, right, this is a U.S. healthcare thing. HMOs. Something medical organizations or something. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but that's what this will be. Little Blank, who sang "The Locomotion." Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can have the song in my head now, but I'm not sure. I don't know that I ever knew the name of this artist, actually. We'll see. Maybe I'll recognize it. Light Punch, a low something. Oh, it could be a light punch as in sort of a tap, or it could be a light punch as in a drink. I mean, I guess a sort of not very alcoholic punch, maybe. I'm not sure. Could be low something. I don't know. Savory South Asian pastry is a samosa. There we go. And a Casey in the National Radio Hall of Fame. Oh, Casey Kasem. Is that spelled with a C or a K? This looks okay. Smidgen. A scotch. I find this word to be not at all how it feels like it should be spelled to me, but I think it is. I think it is spelled this way, strangely. Okay. Was defeated by. If you were defeated by someone, you lost to them. Vegas casino with bars named Doublin' Up, Lucky, and Blarney. No idea. I don't think I'm familiar with these. With bars, boy, who would know? This must be famous because this is so specific. To know the name of the bars inside a particular casino in Las Vegas, this must be something that is more known than I would assume. Tibetan ethnic group. Oh, that's annoying that I can't bring this to mind. Oh, no. It must be Sherpa, of course. Right. Which in, sort of, I don't know, popular culture is, are almost always depicted as being mountaineering guides. But of course, this group of people has lives beyond that one particular function or role. Right, that was interesting. Okay, so Queen's Stadium eponym. Arthur Ashe, the great tennis player, so the namesake of Stadium in Queens, New York. And what is this? Why can't I see it? Vegas Casino. At this point, I'm just thinking I should be able to fill out a word. I just don't know what it is. Light punch. Oh, a love tap. Okay, I've sort of heard that phrase before. What is it? Is that a boxing thing? Little Blank, who sang the locomotion. Eva, Little Eva. Okay. I don't know if I've ever learned that or not, but I didn't have it in my head. Oh, O'Shea's. This feels like it's going to be an Irish name. Is it with an S? That makes me think this is going to be a K, because this just looks horrible. I mean, this doesn't look like anything. So I was completely wrong about the spelling of this. Skosh. Ugh. I think this must be right. I think that's a tough cross. I think that's a pretty tough cross, to be honest, because Casey Kasem, I mean, he was on the radio in my lifetime, but he's definitely associated with a much earlier era and is also, I mean, it's specifically an American bit of cultural context from a different. This is, to be honest, one of the reasons I am a bit skeptical of things when like two current pop culture clue crosses, because you don't know what's going to remain current even for more than a couple of years. Although obviously people have a certain level of success, you can assume their names will be remembered for more than a couple of years. So it's not so much that I think they'll be immediately forgotten. It's just that pop culture things are so hard to know what's going to intersect with people's body of knowledge. But I suppose it's an American publication, and so it goes. So Casey in the National Radio Hall of Fame, Kasem, and then Scotia. I think this is probably right. I think that's a really tough cross. Okay, so I'm just assuming this is O'Shea's. It's not of casino with which I'm familiar, but the Irish thing makes me think that's what it is. And then Los Gatos, California. This is another tough cross. Although, again, California has so many, you can sort of infer it, I guess, in the same way you can infer this Irish thing, in that so many place names in California are based on the Spanish language. I still think this is a really difficult area down here. The two crosses coming off Scotia, I think are, if you don't know this word and precisely how it's spelled, I don't know. This is a tough little area. There it is. So that is that. And what an interesting theme. What an interesting theme. So we had vintage car in German, or veteran in English with old timer. High school in Danish, or building for indoor sports in English, is a gymnasium. Competition in French, or agreement in English, is concurrence. Plywood in Dutch, or theater with several screens in English, is a multiplex. And vacation in Swedish, or half of an academic year in English, is a semester. And of course, I was making no attempt to pronounce these in any way other than how they are said in English. So I made no attempt to pronounce these in English, Danish, French, Dutch, or Swedish. But I'm very interested in this, and I'm wondering, I might just I'm going to just search for these a bit. And if this takes a while, then I will, then I won't worry about it. But, and I'll edit out the time if there's, old timer in German. How do I find the etymology? I think this is going to require too much research for me to do right now. I don't know that I have the time for that at the moment, but I'm very interested in which of these are cognates, which of these are actually sort of, almost essentially the same word, even if they have a slightly different implication, but they're etymologically essentially the same thing, and which of them are just coincidences and it hasn't, just has nothing to do with it. Yeah, I'm very interested. So, what a clever theme! I like that a lot by Karen Steinberg. Great idea, and it's nice that, of course, it's just interesting knowledge. You don't need to know any of these things in order to solve the puzzle, of course, because we're given the English. Essentially, these are just regular crossword clues, but we have this interesting additional information. So it's a nice little informative theme, and there we have it. I will read a couple of clues, comments on clues from yesterday's puzzle, though I do have time for that. So Zio R95 explains regarding SVU. I think I thought that was maybe CSI SVU, but Law and Order SVU, which now that I see it written does ring a bell. So yes, I just didn't remember that yesterday. But in any case, Law and Order SVU actually has more episodes than its predecessor, to the point where it is actually the longest running primetime US live action series in the history of television. Wow. And Geo 488 explains the SVU stands for Special Victims Unit, which I do think I would have remembered if pressed. And then Alex Hopkins explains regarding lumens. They are the SI system of customary... sorry. So Alex begins by just observing that the SI system of customary units has 7 defined types of irreducible units of measure from which all other units are derived. Luminous intensity is one and is not inherently related to energy or electricity in any way. The unit of luminous intensity is actually the candela or candle, but the related unit of luminous flux is the lumen. The other irreducible units of measure, of course, are length, mass. Length, the meter in length, mass, the kilogram, or the gram, I would think. But in any case, is it the kilogram or would it be considered the gram? I don't know. I would have assumed the gram. Anyway, quantity, the mole, as in of a substance. Electrical current, the A, is that ampere? Temperature in Kelvin and time in seconds. So there we go. Very interesting regarding the lumen. Thank you, Alex Hopkins. And I think that was all I had in terms of corrections or that sort of explanation. So thank you for joining me for today's video. I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday crossword when our theme gets a bit trickier than this one. Certainly, it'll definitely be trickier than today's. And I hope you join me. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.